All right, if you can't beat them, join them, and then try to beat them? Well, not quite. But when it comes to Republican governors forced to deal with Obamacare, they are in a little bit of a box, right? Like it or not, it is now the law of the land. So even conservatives like Chris Christie, who opposed the president's health care overhaul, have already bent on allowing the federal government to take over more of their own Medicaid cost in New Jersey. Now, it's a savings to New Jerseyans, the governor argues, so why not? Now, these healthcare exchanges that they have to set up, well, that's another issue. But Republican Idaho Governor Butch Otter says it better he set up an exchange to have some control over these costs than to cede all of that to Uncle Sam, the governor with me right now. Is that what this comes down to, you think, with these exchanges? Well,
Neil, it really comes down to a couple of things. And I was part of the Republican organization when we first talked about nobody's going to do this. You know, if nobody will do it, it'll just be crushed by its own weight. But then when I got to thinking about it, I thought, you know, the end game here for Obama, for the president, is a single-payer system. Now, how much easier to switch all 50 states to a single-payer system if you start out with 26, 27, or 28 that are all on the same system? So, and all of those that opt not to do it for the state, but to do it themselves, or the federal government come in and do, they're all going to be on the same system.
But don't you see that that's part of the Faustian pact you make? That all of a sudden, and there's great logic to what you say, Governor, but it would be the same with giving the federal government more control over Medicaid, because governors might figure it's like free candy. The president's taking this load off.
Well, no, but you make my argument.
You know?
Neil, you make my argument because I'm saying, no, we're going to do our own. First off, we've got one of the lowest insurance premium costs on health care in the nation. Idaho does. I think we're second from the bottom in terms of our health care cost.
Well, because you're also you're climbing mountains and all that other nonsense.
And so that's part of it. But the other part of it is all those 26 are going to be thrown into the same system.
So best to avoid that.
So best to avoid the system. Best, I think we should have had 50 different plans so that we could truly become the laboratories of health care for the future.
But it is the law of the land, like you say, right, Governor?
It is the law of the land.
So you can't fight City Hall? Is that?
I look at it this way, too. You know, that's the worst we're going to end up with. And if we can do anything in negotiations or flexibilities or waivers to improve it along the way, maybe I can end up with something better.
Governor, what do you make of this debate among Republicans, what I all but called civil war among Republicans on my Fox News show, when you have Speaker Boehner and Paul Ryan saying there's not an immediate debt crisis? What did you make of that?
Well, you know, I don't know. I think there is. In fact, I think it's a.
What's in it for them to say there isn't?
You know, I can't get into their brain. I don't know what that's all about.
It must be a negotiating
tactic. But I do know that a $16.7 trillion debt growing at the rate of the deficit every year is a big problem.
So when they see that, they'd still say, I want to stress, it's a big problem. It's not an immediate crisis. Doesn't that take the urdue off addressing it? No, it doesn't. Because I think what business, what investment, what capital is looking for is they're looking for predictability and they're looking for sustainability. And when they see all the movement going on in the debt itself, right, that offers neither. So when you and the governors met with the president a few weeks ago, right? You were saying 3 weeks ago today?
Yeah.
And you talked, I think you were knee-deep in the whole sequestration debate at the time. And the president's warning, you know, that the disaster's coming, fewer beef inspectors would all be eating horse meat.
That was the story.
That was the story, right? And I thought to myself, Governor, I mean, holy cow. I mean, however onerous these $85 billion in cuts would be, they're in a $3.6 trillion budget, a nearly $17 trillion debt. If we're whining about these cuts, what are we going to do when we have to put the pedal to the metal?
I don't know, but I can tell you this. The 48 or 49 governors that were in the White House that day with the president said, for the most part, said, look, we can handle this. We've been balancing our budgets throughout this since 07, since 08. When the downturn came, most of us...
Did any of you say quit scaring people?
I don't remember that, but I do remember this, that the governors were pretty much in agreement that we can handle it. In fact, there were Mike Beebe from Arkansas, I thought, made a great point when he said, Mr. President, if you're going to take that money away, we can handle it. We'll manage it. It's only 2.6%. We'll manage that $85 billion. But take away the red tape. Take away all the rules and regulations that direct every dime and every place that it's going in each one of our agencies. The president said, we'll look at it. That was 3 weeks ago.
Still looking.
Well, nearsighted. Hasn't been able to see that horizon that we need to see.
I got you. Governor, thank you very much. Great seeing you.
Thank you, Neil.